Hello, everyone. I'm just checking to make sure I have the microphone on and all of that. So I am going to dive into your Oov class, a little bit of everything, and we'll see how it goes. All right. So let's come and begin with our rollbacks. We will sit in the saddle facing the head of the Oov. Come forward, feet out, and we will exhale and really try to hollow and curve back towards the Oov. Bring the lowest ribs back. Take an inhale and exhale up. And find your really comfortable position where you feel like you can really hollow back and bring the low ribs back. Take an inhale and exhale and float back up. And we exhale and we hollow back. And we take an inhale and we hollow up. And we exhale and we hollow back. And let's lift an arm and release and lift the other arm. And release and lift an arm and release and lift an arm and release and take an inhale and exhale and roll up, reach up, and then exhale and roll back. Now let's take one arm out to the side and bring it in, and the other arm out. Really try to keep long in the spine and exhale in, out and in and out and in. Take an inhale and exhale, roll up and reach up and exhale and roll back, hollowing back. Take an inhale and exhale, roll up. And let's exhale and roll back. And let's lift one arm in the opposite foot and lower and lift and lower and lift. Let's lower that side down and try the other side. Lift and lower and lift and lower, lift and lower. Take an inhale and exhale and roll up, and take an inhale and exhale and curl back, and take an inhale and exhale, roll up, take an inhale and exhale, curl back. Last set. Let's take one arm out and lift the opposite foot and in and touch and lift and touch and lift and touch down. Take an inhale, exhale, roll up, reach up, exhale, lengthen, curl back, create space between the vertebrae. Take one arm out and the opposite foot out and in and touch, in and touch, and in and touch, and take an inhale and exhale, roll up and release. Okay, actually, for those of you who love the rollbacks, let's do one. You can keep your legs long. Let's do three. Let's roll back. Bring the low back, the upper back to the Oov. Traction the base of the skull away. And you can pause here. After this one, if you'd like a pillow under your head and to really be able to relax, you can reach for that. But for now, just traction the skull. So if you have stenosis, you don't come all the way, you would pause in your long state. Some of you can then curl back over the Oov. And we've paused for a few luscious breaths. You can play with elbows wrapped around the head, elbows opening out more. You can lengthen from the base of the skull, roll up, reach forward, rolling yourself forward. And then let's go again. Exhale, really hollow back. So I'm actually sitting on my small Oov at the very front of the Oov. I have a pretty long spine. So you want to find wherever it feels best in your spine to be working on the opening. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the easiest place, okay? Because that might be us just flaring at our thoracic lumbar junction. We just want to find the place where we can be like, yeah, I can rest here. I feel the stretch. I feel the opening. We can take a few fluid breaths. For me here, my lowest ribs are off the Oov, so I can breathe back into them. All while I breathe and stretch the side ribs open. And then let's exhale, come back up and roll ourselves up and reach up one more time. We'll roll back, hollow back. You can move and change your place on the Oov, move farther forward or farther back. And if you'd like, you can bring your head to the floor. Remember, you need to keep the back of the neck long. The arms may rest open behind you. You could have a bolster for the arms. You could have a pillow for the head so that it's not quite as extreme a back bend. And we rest back and we release and we breathe and we soften. And we remember that part of the core work is to also relax the muscles that get really active. And then let's bring the hands in behind the head and let's roll ourselves up. So I support my head in the lift and then I roll up. All right. Let's bring the Oov between our legs or however you draw it in, tail first. And if you need a pillow, you can have that nearby. We lift up and we draw the Oov under us to the point where our hip pointers can reach easily for our low ribs. We're not in a supported back bend now. We're in a supported kind of lengthening of the lumbar, but we have our natural lumbar curve. Okay. And then let's float one leg to tabletop and let's land it back down light as a feather and float the other leg to tabletop and land it light as a feather. And we make sure our gaze is perpendicular to the floor and our cervical spine is comfortable. And that while we do these leg lifts into tabletop, there's no overactivation in the neck and shoulders. And then we come up to tabletop and bring the other leg up. Let's open the knees as wide as the shoulders and toe dip 1 foot past, heel to heel, knee towards shoulder, and we continue. The arc of the foot lowering and then the knee coming towards the shoulder. We inhale down and we exhale up. And we inhale down and we exhale up. And we come back heel to heel. And now let's toe dip the other side. 1 foot past, heel to heel, knee towards shoulder, pass, and back up, and pass, and back up. And one more. And we come back up and come heel to heel, knees close, and we really concentrate on the right side body. Feel into where your arm position helps you feel most awake and stable. And if you're going to bring your arms up, palm facing palm over your torso, make sure that you don't press the elbows back so far that you draw the humerus bone forward towards the sky. Ground the whole of the humerus and open the left leg out to the left. And exhale back to center. And inhale, right leg out. And exhale to center. And feel into how you activate the back myofascial chains through the arm bones. And how you stabilize the rest of the body for the movement of the one limb. It becomes a true mindfulness practice. Out and in. We inhale out. And we exhale in. And we expand our consciousness to the back body and to the muscles that are working to stabilize us. Good. And then let's straighten the legs towards the sky. Bring the heels together. Open them 3 inches wide. And a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can you open them 6 inches wide? Now, can you maintain the 6-inch tap? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now open 2 feet wide. And a 1, and 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now just bring them 1 inch apart and try to maintain this inch in your beats. So we're working on precision here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Zip together the inseam of the legs, lower the heels, stay strong, ribs to hip pointers, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Lengthen and lower, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now lift back to middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's turn feet parallel. And remember, it's tiny half-foot steps. So you're bringing the ball of one big toe into the arch of the other foot. And it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Walk up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stay there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stay there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Come into your Pilates V. Open your legs a little wider than your shoulders. Take them down the mat to your point of control, up the midline. Keep your front low ribs reaching for your hip pointers, the low back ribs grounding back. Neck long, smooth movement of the legs. No momentum. We're not swinging fast and around. We're going slow and smooth, the whole circle. Now go down the middle and open and up and together. Fluid motion, even circles. And let's do one more this direction. And then keep the right leg overhead. Let's bring the left leg long and pulse, pulse and switch. Pulse, pulse and switch. Pulse, pulse and switch. Pulse, pulse and switch. Try to have even small pulses. Pulse, pulse and switch. Pulse, pulse and switch. Pulse, pulse and switch right into your bicycles. Long legs. Now point the feet and really stretch the feet open. Really lengthen the ankle and now flex the feet and really press out through the heel, stretching the calves, lengthening the legs. Now let's point again and let's point the toes, drawing the toes back. Fluid breath. Feel how active you can be. Press out to the big toe ball mound, the pinky toe ball mound, the inner heel and the outer heel. Now see if you can just relax the feet and still work with a really long leg with a relaxed and easy foot. Now take the circles the other way. Relaxed and easy foot. Long leg. Is it easier to activate if you point? Try pointing. Is it easier to activate if you press with the heel? Is there more of a stretch? Getting to know the body. Now point again. And point the toes. Can you stay awake and the whole of the leg out to the feet? And then can you relax the feet? Relaxed feet. Easy movement. Good. And bring the legs back together. Bend the knees. And let's draw the knees in towards the shoulders and press out like a frog and draw in. And press out and in and out and in, out and in and out. Good. Let's bend the knees and let's float one foot to the floor and then the other, light as a feather. Pause in your bridge pose for a moment. Some of you may be able to lengthen out one leg. You can float the foot out or you can lower it to the floor. Remember, with stenosis, we may not want this big of a back bend. If you have lumbar, sacroiliac issues, you may feel like this is too low. You could always bring your ball in and you could rest your foot on the ball out there so that you're a little higher up. You could also use a yoga block or a wall. Okay. Fluid breath. Can you relax those muscles we were just using in the interior of the pelvis? And then take the other foot out and breathe deep into the pelvis. So we just really worked those major hip flexors. So now we just want the iliacus and the psoas to relax and lengthen. Some of you are flexible enough that it'll feel good to lengthen both legs out. You can take them wide. Fluid breath. Feel into where your body stretches and don't push too hard. Relax. The effort now is to relax. to let the muscles stretch open with the hug of gravity and the props. One more exhale, and then draw the legs in and press the Oov out between your feet and bring your feet up onto the back of the Oov. Elbows again to your sides, palms facing across the body. Make sure your feet are on either side of the groove and lift the pelvis. And we lift and lower and lift and lower, lift and lower and lift and lower and lift to the top. And pulse 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm noticing I'm lifting my head and my arm bone a little bit. Make sure you're grounding back there. Maybe better to open the arms. Lift one hip higher than the other and swing across to the other and switch and switch and switch and switch. Feel how you sway a little on the Oov back and forth, like you really are dancing. Fluid breath, strengthening the hamstrings, the glutes, and the low back. Let's make sure the glutes are a part of it. Come to center, draw the sit bones together and release and draw and release, draw and release and draw and hold. Feel into those glutes working and release and soften the heart and roll down one vertebrae at a time through your lumbar curve. Come into your natural lumbar curve and then overdo it, tailbone towards the floor and rock the pelvis. Back, up and down, tailbone skyward, tailbone earthward, tailbone skyward, tailbone earthward. So you can stick with those, okay? You can come back to both legs on the Oov, or you can move over to your left and put the right second toe in the groove of the Oov, the heel in the groove of the Oov, elbows to the floor, head of the arm bones back. You can lift the left leg to tabletop and press down and lift. You can stay with the shin bent if you have tight hamstrings, or straighten the leg. And we lower the pelvis and reach and lower and reach, lower and reach and lower and reach. Pause at the top, flex the foot, lower the heel, point and lift, flex and lower, point and lift, flex and lower, point and lift. One more. Come to the top and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then lower the sacrum back to the floor. Release the foot. Take the feet either side of the Oov and scoot your body to the right, bringing the left toe into the groove on the Oov, heel in line with the second toe. Make sure you feel like the arch is supported by the back of the Oov. Elbows down, but not to lift the head of the arm bones. Head of the arm bones down too. We draw the right foot into tabletop and then we lift. We can stay here or straighten the leg and we lower and lift, lower and lift, lower and lift and lower and lift. Last, lower, lift, flex the foot and lower and point and lift, flex and lower, point and lift. Think of your sit bones, try to keep them even here. And lower and lift and lower and lift and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And lower the pelvis down and release the legs. And pause back at center with a fluid breath. Okay, let's roll over to our sides and let's come up to do a little front plank work with the Oov. So you can either do your plank with your hands to your sides. If you know that coming centered into the Oov and bringing the elbows in doesn't feel good in your shoulders, then just do your planks on your hands, okay? If you want to try the Oov, you bring your forearms to the Oov. You can put your thumbs next to the groove of the Oov and wrap your fingers around the neck. And you can step one foot back and then the other. And then you come up into your plank, tailbone reaching long. You can even let go with the hands here if you feel like you have good balance with the elbows. Breathe into the low back ribs and feel how when you're on the Oov, you have a little bit more mobility. So you have to really stabilize. Fluid breath. Come down whenever you need to. Otherwise, stay here. Keep the back of the neck long, keep the spine long, and then step down. And you can fold back into a child's pose with your head resting on the tail of the Oov. Take a few deep breaths into the whole circumference of the rib cage. And then let's come back up. Hands wrapping gently around the neck, thumbs near the head. And we step one foot back and then the other. And we pause in our plank, low plank, tailbone towards heels, helium balloon lifting you under navel, under ribs, under pelvis. A few more fluid breaths. If this does not feel good on your shoulders, come into a regular plank on the floor. And if this is too much in your core, you could come to a knee plank. And then let's step in and release our hands to the floor and inhale a cow and exhale a cat. And inhale a cow and exhale a cat. All right, let's bring our ball forward. Let's turn the Oov and sit a hip for side lying work. Let's bring our circle TheraBand around our legs up to just above the knee. And remember, you can always do this work without the TheraBand. It'll just be a little less intense, a little less resistance, and that's fine. Okay, so we bring the side body along the groove in the Oov, the elbow beneath the shoulder or a little towards the head of the mat, hip stacked over hip. I'm supported by the Oov, but I also try to lift the side body off the Oov. Okay, now heels aligned with sit bones, keeping the feet together. Let's open the knees and close. Open and close, open and close, and open and close. Pause here, find your shoulder blades, lengthen them away from your pelvis, press down into your grounding arm. That's a weight-bearing arm, good for bone density. And we open and close, inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale and inhale and exhale. Let's lift the feet. We open and close and lift, lower and inhale and exhale and open, close and lift and lower. Let's straighten the legs out. Lift, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now point the foot and a little forward and a little back, just a little. Try not to rock in this center core. Forward and back, forward and back. Now bring both femur bones up, perpendicular to the floor. So really grounding down in the side body, lengthen, lift the leg and close and inhale. Exhale and lift and lower, lift and lower and lift and lower. Now lift, press and back and lower and lift, press and forward and lower and lift, press, forward, lower and lift. Aware of your back body too. And one more. Beautiful. And then thank you, side body. Take one foot out. You can keep the other leg in. And let's bring the ball in and rest our wrist on the ball. You can be forward at a bit of a diagonal or you can be out parallel. And we will lift the other arm and reach it long down the leg. Let's bring the top leg forward and the bottom leg long. Shoulder blades on the back body, shoulders resting away from ears. We reach and come back down and really find a place that's comfortable for the wrist and hand. We lift and lower. We're waking up these side bodies. Lift and lower and lift, lower and lift, lower and lift and hold, lower and lift and lower and lift, lower and lift and lift and hold. And then let yourself bend the bottom knee, stretch the top leg long, and stretch the upper body. Really just resting on the Oov. You can roll a little forward. You can roll a little back. Find the place where the stretch is best for your body. Breathe into it. And let's try the other side. Okay, so we flip ourselves around and we put our leg back in the theraband. And we come on to the side of the Oov. Side body really laying, like the inseam of my shirt is kind of in the groove of the Oov. Elbow under shoulder or a little towards the head of the mat. Heels aligned with sit bones. We open and close and open. Close and lift. Lower, lift, and lower and lower. Now find the shoulder blades on the back body. Stretch both side bodies long and staying aware of that length. Again, let's lift and lower and lift, lower, pressing down into the forearm. We lift and lower and lift and lower. Let's lift the feet and open, close and open, close and inhale, exhale and lift, lower and open and close. And then we straighten the legs out and we float, heel and pinky toe evenly and lower and lift, lower, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Last one. And then let's lift up and just really gently, very aware of your square, very aware of your shoulder blades to hips, kick forward and draw back. Not a big motion. Feel into stabilizing the rest of the body for the movement. Fluid movement, fluid breath. Last one. Good. And then walk both knees perpendicular to the torso. Shins parallel to the torso, and we lift and lower, inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale, lift, lower and lift and lower and lift. Press back, come forward and lower and lift. Press forward and lower, inhale, press forward and lower and inhale. And exhale. Good. And rub it out. And let's take the TheraBand off, at least off the top leg. You can do the bottom leg later. Let's bring the top leg forward, the bottom leg long. Bring the wrist out onto the ball and bring your arm out over the hip. And we lower and roll and side flex up. And release and exhale and inhale, reach and lower, reach and lower and reach and hold and lower and lift and lower and reach, lower and lift, lower and lift and lower and reach and hold. Feel that side body working and release. And let the bottom leg bend and the top leg stretch long and really reach with the arms. Find the place, moving subtly on your Oov, where the stretch is best for you. Woohoo! So that woke up our hips. So a little bit of everything. We're moving right along. We're going to come up. Now you can either go into some traditional side lying work, or you can come up to kneeling. Now remember, when we kneel on the Oov, if we have a long torso, We can use the seat of a chair out beside us, or we can use a block, okay? So we put the knee closest to the tail onto the Oov, and make sure you've got some good padding under your knees. So I have a couple mats here, okay? And then remember that it doesn't have to be right in your knee joint. It can be more on the shin where you are on the neck of the Oov. You can take your block out a little bit and we come up. So in yoga, this is like Parigasana, right? Setup. So this straight leg is down into the Oov. We lift and lengthen. So there we are, long, hot air balloon lifting us, breathing into the low back ribs. We can bring the top hand to the hip and bring the hand down either to rest on our Oov or forward towards our block. Okay, it's so funny. Yesterday, or last time we did this, I felt like I wanted the block. Now I'm feeling like I just want to be on the Oov. Okay, so be long. I might have been taller last time. And then we lift the foot. We lift pinky and heel evenly and lower. And shoulder blades are on the back body, aware of their crosses towards the hip pockets. Can you connect the top shoulder blade to the standing knee hip? And one more. Can you connect the lower shoulder here? I want to be on my block to the lifted leg hip. Now we kick forward. Can you keep the torso pretty still and lengthen and kick and long and kick and long. Stay aware of your back body. Kick and long and last one. And then circle 2, 3, 4, and 5. Back 2, 3, 4, and 5. Place the foot down. Let yourself stretch up and over. Take a few breaths into those side ribs. And then let's lift up, lengthen out through the leg and come over to the other side. Stretch from the grounding knee up the side body and float back up and release. We'll come to the other side. Okay. So remember, it's the knee closest to the tail that comes onto the neck of the Oov. We stretch the other leg out and we find our shoulder blades on the back body. Okay. So fluid breath. Find your comfort. Oop. Let's pull my earpiece out. Find your comfort. Find your shoulder blades on the back and float and lower. Hand lift, lower and lift, lower and lift, lower and lift, and lower. Now lift. Can you stay long through the torso? Imagine there's a theraband over the top of your head. Kick forward, flex and draw back. Kick forward, tailbone lengthens out through the top of the head. We kick and draw. Keep the low back ribs grounding back. Draw and kick and draw back and kick and draw back. And then circle 2, 3, 4, and 5. And circle 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then lengthen over the top and take a few deep breaths, opening into the rib cage. And then float yourself up to your T and stretch the other way. Fluid breath, really trying to find that side body long, shoulders relaxed away from the ears. We inhale back up and step down. Okay. What should we do next? Let's come up to standing. And actually, let's not. Let's come back down to doing our lying on the back work. And then we will come up to standing. Okay? So get ready to lie on your back on the Oov. I'm going to check our time. Perfect. Okay. So let's lie back on the Oov. But before we do, let's make sure we have our hand weights to each side. Okay, and I think that's all we'll need today. We can come and slide down towards the tail of the Oov, roll back onto our backs. Remember, if you need a pillow to bring it in. I usually kind of reconfigure the head of the Oov a little bit with my fingertips. And then really find the connection, ribs to hip pointers. Now we're going to start at the very beginning with our back supine work today. Let's walk our feet together and really let yourself rest back. And then open your left knee out to the left and draw it back to center. Can you avoid wobbling on the Oov? Using your arms, using your myofascial chains, let the right knee fall out to the right and exhale to center. So your feet are together at the inseam and we release one leg out and we draw back. And we release the other out and draw back. And you can kind of feel into your core, feel into the myofascial chains. What's working? We're back to something subtle. Feel for the subtle stabilization that happens. Good. Now, walk your feet sit bone distance wide and be really conscious in the head, neck, and shoulders. Your thumbs can be on your low ribs, your fingers on your hip pointers. Feel into the neck and float one leg to tabletop. If your neck gripped or overreacted, then you want to move towards the head of your Oov. Try the other side. And lower. And gently lift and lower, finding stability as you move. And then see, can you float into the tabletop, activate your core, and float the other to follow without activating the neck. Let's step back down, step back down. Try the other leg first. Use your core, not the neck. We float up, and then we open the heels. We open the knees as wide as the shoulders, heels together, and we toe dip again. And we come back heel to heel, and we toe dip the other way, and heel to heel. We're just reminding ourselves to keep the core awake. And last one here, heel to heel, bring your shins parallel. Again, you're resting your arm bones back. They don't come to the floor, but they're resting back. We take the left shin wide. We feel into the myofascial chain on the left side. We feel how we can balance the work across to the right. We come back to center and we take the right leg out and we feel for the myofascial chain. And we come back in and we open left and we close. And we open right and we close. And we inhale and exhale. And we work for our stability. And last one. Out and in and out and in. Good. Now, can you toe dip parallel left foot? Come back up, take the left leg out. Come back in and toe dip up and out and in and toe dip last set. We open and come in. Then we toe dip right. Come up, take the right shin out and in, toe dip, come up and out. Feel how the myofascial chains are different for the toe dip than the pages, or not how they're different, but how they may react differently. Good. And let's float one foot to the floor and then the other. And let's reach for the hand weights. Lifting the hand weights up. Let's take them slightly overhead, keeping the back of your neck long. Here we are, fluid breath into the low back ribs. Feel into how the arms slightly overhead activate the myofascial chains. And then exhale, elbows in towards right knee lifting and stretch the leg and stretch the arms and in. And out and in and out, in and out and in and out. Now pause here. Hands towards foot, up and down. It can be knee, but it can be straight if your body will do it. Keep aware of the low back ribs. Could be here. Fluid breath. Last one. And then lower the leg, take the hands a little overhead. And then other side, elbow towards knee and down elbows towards knee and out straight, sorry, elbows and stretch, reach in and stretch, elbows towards knee and stretch, in and out and in and out. Now pause here and see, can you bring straight leg towards straight arms and out and up and down. It could be a bent knee, up and down and up and out. And bring the elbows in, the foot down, the arms up, and take the left arm out to the left. Feel how you stabilize. Does your spine try to torque? Does it want to twist? Can you keep the four corners of both legs grounded? Draw back from the wrist, keep the humerus bone back, and take the right arm out. Remember, we want to let the right humerus bone fall back too. We don't want it to pop forward in the rotator cuff. And we come in. One more time left. Feel into what's working. And come in. One more time right. Feel into what's working. And come in. Now, take your left arm out. Lift the right leg. Draw the left arm in. Lower the right foot. Take the right arm out. Lift the left leg. Bring the right arm in, lower the left foot. One more time each side. Take the left arm out, lift the right leg, draw the left arm in, lower the right foot. Take the right arm out, lift the left leg, draw the right arm in, lower the left foot. Bring the arms to hover overhead. Let the hyoid bone and the neck crease rest back. And then see, can you lift one leg to tabletop and the other foot to the toe and float the leg up. Maybe the arms float up. And then we take the arms long, we lower one leg and then the other. We bring the arms back to the sky and we open the arms and we hug a tree. And we open and hug and open and hug and open and hug. And we take the arms slightly overhead and we lift the other leg to tabletop. And we come to the toe of the other foot and we see, can we float it up? I have my slippery pants on today. These Lululemon leggings are slippery. And we open the arms and we hug a tree. And we open and hug and open and hug and open and hug. And if you're comfortable here, you begin to play. Now we're playing with the hand weights in hands. Notice if that's different from last week when we played without the hand weights. What happens if you open wide and close? And if you come down, just find a way back up, connect to the myofascial chains. Fluid breath. Perhaps we open crossbody to play with those myofascial chains. And then let's step one foot down, the other foot down, release the hand weights, and just let yourself pause for a few three-dimensional breaths into the lowest circle of the ribs. And let's roll off to our sides and let's come on up and we will come into doing some standing balance work. Okay. Let's stack our blocks and let's begin with surfing. So we'll step one foot, your choice, over the neck of the Oov and step the other foot up onto the Oov. Remember, you can have a wall in front of you and your fingertips on the wall. If you are finding this video and you haven't done much standing Oov, you want to move your props out of your way. You want to begin by realizing the Oov can throw you back or forward. So you go toes to heel, knees bent, and we move around. Actually, this will be a private link just for our group, I think. So I get nervous when I'm not sure if people know what they're doing. And let yourself just sway and play. If you fall off, you come back on. If you almost fall, you try to find your balance. And we swing. And we start to feel into how do we create balance. Okay, now see, can you step one foot on the Oov and play with the other off the Oov? And if you fall off, you come back up. And maybe play with a bit more awareness. Fluid breath. So I started with the foot closest to the head, still on the Oov, but you could try it the other way. Just notice what you want to do, what your tendency is. And then can you play cross body? Here you go, Posey, here's a new one. Fluid breath. When you come out, can you find that shoulder blade to hip pocket? Good, and then step that foot back on the Oov and see if you can switch sides. Now, if you need to balance with the wall, you could have the wall, you could change your Oov around and have the wall right here, or you can have the wall in front of you, right? A little harder to take the foot off on the head side. And then we elbow to knee. If you fall off, step back up. Fluid breath. So I'm trying to get you all to be playful on the Oov and play with your balance. Just make sure you don't have props that you could fall on. Okay. Fluid motion. Maybe it'd be easiest for me to draw rib towards hip pointer, draw elbow towards knee first, and then out and in and out. That's more work. That's harder because of that. I'm nervous about bumping into the head. In and out and in and out. And let's step down. And let's turn the Oov around. And let's try our more traditional surfing work. Let's come on to the Oov. And let's go surfing. So you bend into your lunge and you surf your waves. And you may rock a little back and forth. And your dog may come to you downward dog and you pet the dog. And then you go back to your surfing. And then you come up. All right, and then let's do our reaching for the water, throwing it overhead. So we bend forward kind of through our Utkatasana. We reach for the water and we splash it overhead. And we come down and reach, splash, and reach, and splash. And then let's come off and let's come walking up our Oov on the tightrope. But this time, let's bring in our long theraband. And let's try it two different ways today. Let's bring it around the low ribs like usual first. Okay. Around the low ribs, hands forward, elbows at the inseam of your shirt. And let's step on the head of the Oov, second toe in the groove of the Oov. We step up. And I'm pulling out so that I'm breathing back into those low back ribs. That may help those of us that are loosey-goosey at the thoracic lumbar junction be a little more conscious and strong. And then can you play with your leg in space? And perhaps fold towards your Vira 3, alive in the back ribs, and feel how being alive in the low back ribs can help you really stabilize. And then we come back up and we lift the leg forward. Can you keep the heart lifted, the inner collarbones lifted? Could be that you're lifting the knee, could be that you're straightening the leg. And let's step back down. And let's try the other side. Hi, puppy. Okay. So we step up and we begin to play. We may take the leg out and in. We're really breathing into the low back ribs. We may bring the leg forward and long. Can you still lift the heart and inner collarbones? We may take the leg back towards Vera 3. Really stay with the pressure in the low back ribs. Use it from both sides. So I just wobbled and I pressed back on the side I wobbled towards, and that brought me back towards stability for a moment. And then I lost it. Okay. So wherever you are, it's fun to just play with the movements. Make sure that the TheraBand has enough resistance in your hands to really help you as we play. And then we come up. Boy, I'm having more trouble with this side today. And come down and let yourself come off. And let's pause with a breath. Fluid breath. Oh, I wanted us to do one more with the TheraBand. Let's bring it up overhead. Let's take the hands out. Make sure that it's overhead at the point where you can push up from behind your ears. That's going to help you draw the hyoid bone in and find good, healthy postural alignment. Okay. And then let's just go ahead and step right up onto the back. That's kind of handy to look into the big screen and be able to see where my foot is. Okay, so we come up onto the Oov and we begin to play. Fluid breath. And you can do the same kind of play again and still feel for the imaginary TheraBand at your low back ribs. But what happens while you're long if you fold forward? And maybe you just fold a little bit forward and you really find that length out of the pelvis. And then come back up. And let's try the other side. Okay. Hands long. Before you step up, really find that lift from pelvic floor through the spine, up from behind the ears into the TheraBand. And then we come up and we play. Fluid breath. And I'm trying to find the four corners of my Oov foot right now, because I think that was my issue earlier. And I'm still finding that imaginary TheraBand around the low back ribs. I'm feeling my foot today. Fluid breath. And we float back up. And we lengthen into the TheraBand. And we step down. All righty. All right, let me check our time. Yep, we're doing well. Okay, so let's just stretch out our feet a tiny bit and we'll close class. I'm really hoping you can't hear the work that's being done on my neighbor's property right now. So roll the inseam of one foot in towards the body of the Oov, and then roll the outer edge of the foot out into the head of the Oov. And we roll in, and we roll out, and in, and out. And then just kind of step up onto that arch. People can't see when you sit right there. I know. She's scared of the noise. She's scared of the noise of the machines outside. And it's the third day in a row. There's a chainsaw that sounds like it's right outside the door. Fluid breath. Thank goodness for noise canceling headphones. All right, and then let's try the other side. We turn the Oov around. We step towards the body. You're okay. We roll the foot out towards the head. We step the arch in towards the body, and you play around with your own foot, kind of feeling for, where does this Oov really help my foot stretch open a little bit? And don't underestimate the importance of this work, because that myofascia in the feet can get really tight. And when it tightens around the joints, our feet may feel like they can't stretch out, our toes don't open as well. This massaging of the myofascia can get that all moving again a little more. So play with it. And you could play with it while you're like watching a movie or, just have your Oov in the living room. Play around with what feels good. Yeah. Ah, or if you're working at a standing desk, you can always play on the Oov. All right. Let's take our feet off the Oov, move the Oov out of the way, and feel the feet on the floor. Oh, it always feels so good to me, feet on the floor after the Oov. Let's ground into the four corners of the feet and just feel the flat of the foot more open. And let's inhale and let's reach for the sky. And let's lift the thumbs and breathe. Space between the ribs. Let's exhale and let the hands come down to our sides. Let's bend the knees, hinge forward, throw the water up overhead and feel how easy it is when you're not in the Oov. Fluid breath. One more time, like you're throwing fresh spring water over you. And then let's pause in mountain pose. Reach up into the theraband overhead and breathe into the theraband behind your ribs. Shoulder blades broad, energy running up the calves, through the knees and down the shins, down the hamstrings, through the knees and up the quads, through the groins. Can you gently lift the pelvic floor and lengthen the spine like you're actually growing it skyward? And then relax shoulders away from ears. And let's inhale. Lifting the arms, let's draw in a wonderful sun and rain and balance the earth breath. Let's breathe in to our growing awareness in our bodies. Let's breathe into the adventure of learning our bodies better and better with each practice, with each day. And let's breathe into a wonderful week for all of you. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the practice and I will see you next week. All right, thank you.